guys, it's Caitlin. Today's video is going to be the A to Z Bookish Survey. Now this video, there's 26 questions ranging from A to Z. For each letter there's a question. So I'm not going to be talking too much about these books just because this would be very long if I did. Also, some of these might repeat themselves and some of these I might not have answers for. What can you do? And I tried to use only books that I have on my shelves just because it's easier that way. For me, anyway. I don't know. So I'm just going to go ahead and go right into it. The first question is authors you have read the most of. And I have read the most from Sarah J. Maas. I have read all of her books except for Empire of Storms, which makes it 8 books by her. I think that is the most I have read by one single author. And that's mostly because she's my favorite author. Probably my favorite author of all time, as of right now. So yeah. B is best sequel ever. And this will come as no surprise because it's Sarah J. Maas. And this was the best sequel ever. This book was just so good. I loved this one. I honestly think this was the best out of all 3 so far. So yeah, I love Sarah J. Maas. C is currently reading, and I am currently reading The Crown's Game by Evelyn Skye. This is about 2 enchanters, and they have to compete in a game to be the Imperial Enchantress. The Imperial Enchanter. One of the 2. It can't be an enchantress because what if the boy wins? Duh. So it'd be the Imperial Enchanter for the Star, which is pretty freaking awesome. I really like this book. I have that much to go, which I plan on finishing after I'm done filming today, which will only take me about 2 hours, and then I'm going to start on the sequel. But anyways, yeah, this is turning out to be pretty good. I like it enough that I'm going to be reading the sequel right after, so there's that one. D is drink of choice while reading, and I pretty much will drink anything. Like, I don't drink tea and I don't drink coffee, so it's usually like milk or water, or I'll drink like juice if I have juice on hand, which doesn't normally happen, so it's usually either milk or water. E is e-reader or physical book, and I hate e-readers. I will not read a book if it only comes out on e-reader. Don't know why, I just don't like e-readers, so obviously physical book is the winner for this one. F is a fictional character you probably would have dated in high school. Now this is one of those where I don't have an answer for it. I don't know what fictional character I would have dated if in high school. I don't know. Just don't know. G is glad you gave this book a chance. And for this one I chose A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab. I was intimidated by this series because normally I don't read adult fantasy. I'm just not that big of a fan of adult fantasy. Like, I tried the Brent Weeks series, The Black Prism, and the first one was decent. That book was huge though, and that took me like almost a month to finish that book. So I didn't love it. So I got these ones just because I have heard lots of really good things about V.E. Schwab's writing. And I finally took the plunge and read this one, and I loved it. It was so good. So I am so glad that I actually gave this book a chance. And hopefully I will be finishing the rest of the series soon. For H is hidden book gem, and I could not find one for this just because I only tend to read books that have like a lot of hype around them. Like, I've heard tons of things about all the books that I tend to read, so I really don't read anything by authors that aren't as popular, so I don't have an answer for that question. I is important moment in your reading life, and I give this one to The Series of Unfortunate Events, just because that series is what pretty much got me into reading, and I am so happy that I read that series, because where would I be today without having read that? That's what sparked my interest in reading. So yeah. J is just finished, and I just finished A Court of Wings and Ruin by Sarah J. Maas, and this book was really good. I still liked the second one a lot better. This book made me cry too, just like the second book did. But it was really good. I still loved it, and I will continue, obviously, because it's Sarah J. Maas, and she's just my favorite. I just love her, so I will definitely be continuing on. K is kind of book you won't read, and I do not read thrillers. I am the biggest chicken out there. Like, literally, I watched an episode of Cops the other day, and I had nightmares from it. That's how big of a chicken I am. So I will not read anything thriller, or like I prefer not to read mysteries. I will if there's a lot of good reviews on it, but I might not. I just don't tend to gravitate towards those, but definitely not thrillers. I will not read a thriller. L is longest book you've read, and this is the longest book I have on my shelves that I have read. This is City of Heavenly Fire by Cassandra Clare. This is the last book in the Mortal Instruments series, and this thing is 725 pages long. I really liked this series. Cassandra Clare is one of those authors where if she writes it, I'm gonna buy it and I'm going to read it. Obviously, you can see here all of these books here by her. I bought them all, but I haven't read them yet. But I'll get to them eventually. So yeah, that is the longest book I have read. M is Major Book Hangover, and I have to give that one to A Court of Mist and Fury as well. I was in a book hangover with that for a while. Like, I didn't read anything for a couple weeks after that because everything I tried to pick up could not compare to A Court of Mist and Fury, and I just put it down and I just sat there for a long time because of that book. It was so good. The Hangover wasn't as bad the second time I read it because I just recently reread A Court of Thorns and Roses and A Court of Mist and Fury in anticipation for A Court of Wings and Ruin. So The Hangover wasn't too bad the second time, but the first time it was bad. And yeah. N is number of bookcases you own, and I just own the 2, which there's not enough room on the 2 that I have because my dresser is completely full, which if you want to count that as another bookshelf, then 3, but technically I only have 2 bookshelves. O is one book you've read multiple times, and I don't tend to reread books very often. I just don't like to do that, except for Court of Thorns and Roses. Like I said earlier, I reread A Court of Thorns and Roses, and A Court of Mist and Fury. So those are about the only books that I have reread recently that I can remember. And I really enjoyed rereading them. The second time, it really helped me view things from like a different side. Because like when I read the first book the first time, I didn't really realize how big of a tool Tamlin is and how like emotionally abusive he was to Feyre. But when I reread it, I knew all this stuff just from listening to other people and their perspectives on reading the book, and then I realized, yeah, he is a dick, and I don't like him. P is preferred place to read, and I usually only read in my bed or sitting on the couch, but I can only sit on the couch and read if my boyfriend is not in the house because he likes to have the TV on, and I cannot read when he has a TV on, so then I go to my room. But that's besides the point. I prefer to read in my bed just because it's more comfortable, but I will read on the couch occasionally. Q is quote that inspired you, and this comes from, I believe, Shakespeare, and that is, "She may be but little, but she is fierce," which I think is awesome because it's basically saying don't underestimate somebody just because of their size. They may be little, but they could kick your ass. R is reading regret, and I do not have any reading regrets. No, I don't. So there's another no answer to this question. S is series you've started but haven't finished, and this can be said about a lot. but I'm going to go with the Fallen Kingdom series. I forgot to bring that one down. But Fallen Kingdom series, I've only read the first one. I have not read the rest of them, and I need to because the first one was good, and I don't know what I'm doing not reading the rest of them. Next is 3 all-time favorite books for the letter T. The first one is being A Court of Thorns and Roses, just because I just love that whole series. So that's like, I'll just say the first one, but it's really like the entire series. The second one is Geekerella by Ashley Poston. This is a more recent read. Like I said, I'm just going with what I have on my shelves. So this was a 5 out of 5 stars for me recently. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. It's about a girl who is under the care of her stepmother, and she's got these 2 stepsisters who are super mean to her and stuff. It's a Cinderella retelling, but a geeky version of it, because she's like all about fan fiction and stuff, which is a lot of fun. So Ashley Poston, Geekerella. And the next one I also have is Heartless by Marissa Meyer. I love Marissa Meyer's writing as well. She is one of my other all-time favorite authors. I will buy anything that she puts out just because she has impressed me with all of her books. But Heartless is like a backstory to the Queen of Hearts, which I have never read before. And I literally read this book in less than a day. It took me not very long at all to read this book. So, and I loved it. I just absolutely loved it. U is Unapologetic Fangirl 4. And that is obviously A Court of Thorns and Roses. I love that series, and I'm not afraid to admit it. It is the best thing since sliced bread, honestly. W is Worst Bookish Habit, and I don't know that I don't think I have any bookish habits, just because a lot of stuff irritates me about books, like what people do with their books, so I don't do any of those things. But that may be different for somebody else, like on the outside looking in on it. So I don't think I have one. X marks the spot. You count from the top left and go to the right and pick the 27th book. And that book was Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. Yeah, that whole top shelf is basically Sarah J. Maas books, so that's where I ended up. And I loved the series, and I'm so ready to finish it. Y is your latest book purchase, and that was The Crown's Fate, which is the sequel to the book I'm currently reading now, The Crown's Game. This just came Tuesday? I think it was Tuesday, yeah. I pre-ordered this book, so I guess this is my latest book purchase because this is the one that just got to me recently. So, excited for that. And then the last one is Z, or a book that was a Z snatcher that kept you up late. And again, A Court of Mist and Fury did that to me. I was up till, like, normally I am sleeping by like 9:30, and I was up till 11:30, 12 o'clock at night reading that book, which is late for me because I don't usually stay up that late. So yeah, that's it. So that's it for today's video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and thanks for watching. Bye!